All right. Welcome back to another episode of the Owatonna Wrestling Weekly Podcast. I'm head coach Derek Johnson here with Coach Gabe. I've heard been thrown around, so we'll go with that.
Yeah, we'll go with Coach Gabe. That's pretty much what everybody knows, because back in the day it was plenty of us, and Coach Hovden did get 5 people looking at him. So
right, yeah.
So there's still a lot of older kids still around. Just with Coach Gabe,
that eliminates the confusion.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Nice. And to start off right away, I'm going to do a quick thank you to Flemke Insurance Agency, podcast sponsor, Ben Flemke and his team. They're shopping dozens of different carriers for your home, auto, commercial, life, everything like that. So they have you completely covered, hence the shield logo they have. And they do all the hard work for you. You just sign on the dotted line and pay them to do their job. So love that. So thank you to Ben Flemke and the Flemke Insurance Agency. So this week, Coach, we're transitioning into our spring stuff.
Yes.
Kind of all at once in a good way. Starting off with our off-season lifting program. Some exciting developments in that area. So we're working with the OHS strength and conditioning staff. That's Coach Jerry Eggermont, Coach Ginther, Coach Sharper, and I believe they're even hiring another one to help out. And so we worked with them in order to get kind of special allotted time for our team to lift in the mornings before school for the spring session. So they're doing those from 6:30 to 7:30, and that's our high school program. And then any middle schooler that we ended up pulling up by the end of the season for February.
They get the opportunity to come in for that then too.
Yes.
Good.
Yep. And so really, we work in conjunction with the strength and conditioning team here. And so for our off-season lifting program, if they're in let's say they're in track and field and they're a thrower with Eggermont and his staff, that counts towards our off-season lifting too. But we're really trying to get the kids in who, we have a lot of baseball, lacrosse, trap here in the spring, and we wanted to be able to work around their schedule and get them in the mornings.
Yeah.
Take away the excuse of, I got practice.
Oh, I got practice or I got to work.
Yeah. And not to mention, we want them to be well diversified. Obviously, we want them to participate in as many sports as possible.
Yes, because one sport athletes, that's a different breed.
Yeah.
And they got one set goal. And other sports, it just helps with the body, gives your body a rest, gets you to do something else. You stay in shape.
Yeah.
You're active. You're not sitting at home video gaming or whatever they do now.
Yeah. TikToking.
Hey, I just got hooked up with that.
Oh man, Paris. Paris got you.
And I got an Instagram account now too.
Oh my God, look at you, Mr. Millennial over there.
She's friended everybody for me, so I don't even know who my friends are.
Is she your social media manager?
Yes, she's my manager. Yep, she's my agent.
Nice. Well, yeah. So, exactly right. We understand wrestling's also not like the main sport for some kids out, and we don't hold that against them too much.
No.
We also wanted to accommodate that, but also, like I said, at baseball, lacrosse, and they'll have traveling clubs and everything like that. Those are rigorous sports and great for, lacrosse specifically, like conditioning. And, those endurance athletes.
The track, the cross country.
Oh, yeah.
Them sports too. Also, I mean, they're for the endurance for wrestling. It just helps you come into season actually somewhat in shape.
Yeah. Absolutely. And so we wanted this, we wanted to make sure though, I'd tell the team year round, you don't have to wrestle year round, but you at least need to lift year round.
Yes.
Like that's a minimum. And then kind of the next step up from that is, hey, let's get some mat time also in the spring, maybe a little ramp up in the fall, even before captain's practice. That can't hurt. Yeah. But at least the lifting, I mean, that's got to be, nowadays it's just mandatory. You go to the state tournament.
There's nobody there that looks skinny.
No.
Except for, I mean, yes, the 3-pounders are small. Or not 3 anymore, the 6 and the first 3 weights.
Right.
They're typically, but looking at them kids this year, they weren't skinny.
Oh my gosh.
They were built for their weights.
Yeah. Yep.
And
and that's just it. Is it wasn't even like when we were going through, you know, I was probably, besides the football players, I mean, on my teams, non-football players, we probably had 1 or 2 guys that actually lifted.
Yep.
And nowadays, like, you're missing out. Like, you're getting left in the dust if you don't lift hard.
If you don't have that strength, you better have every move in your back pocket and be very, very smooth. And you don't see that anymore. Right.
Yeah. I mean, Landon Johnson to me is like kind of the exception,
yes.
you know, where it's like, now it's going to be fun. We were just talking to him the other day, what he's going to do. He's packing on muscle now.
I seen
him 74
the other night here in practice. He was in here with his little brother and just walking around helping little kids, which is great for all you alumni that are just graduated, still active. Pop in here, and us coaches ain't going to throw you out.
No.
But yeah, he's put on some size.
Right.
He's not the skinny smooth kid anymore.
Yeah. Well, and how scary is that? I mean, he didn't lift, and yet he was that good.
Yes.
And so now that he's going to lift, holy crap.
Yeah. Watch out.
Yeah. That's scary.
Watch out.
That's scary.
And times nowadays, back from when, I don't know about your era, but my era, you cut to your weight.
Yeah.
And you cut to the weight that you were strong at. Well, philosophy now is why not be strong and take whatever weight you want?
Right. Yep.
The stronger you are, the better you're going to be. If you actually get some mat time and lift, it's not going to hurt you to lift anymore.
Right. And that's a good message to, you know, parents of young kids too. You know, there is that stigma of cutting weight and everything. Yeah, not the case.
No.
I mean, we had one kid this year that was borderline, like, really watching his nutrition. Outside of that, everyone else wrestled what they weighed in a healthy way. I mean, like, you know, obviously we don't want them eating gummy bears and
potato chips and
and pop and everything. But I mean, like, everyone was just exactly what they weighed at an athletic level. So,
and by the time you get to the end of the season, when you're growing, it might get a little harder to make a little, you know, cut a few pounds is fine. I was a cutter. I don't know how much cutting you did.
Really bad.
I don't know if it's a proven fact, but all my brothers are over 6 foot.
Sure.
I am not.
Yeah.
So I kind of, you know, I would rather see a kid lift and be healthy than cut weight anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that was, we saw it this year with Kale Robb going up at first 5 weight classes. By the end of the season, it was still up 4 weight classes from what he competed at state the previous year.
Yeah.
All from muscle, all from, you know, and even then, you know, when he was going down to 52, which with the pound allowance was more like 156. I mean, he was naturally weighing in at 60 weeks before that. Yeah. So, it's just the I lifting. Love what it's doing. Yeah.
The lifting.
Exactly.
And then his time on the mat. I mean, he could jump that many weights up and still be very, very successful at it.
Yeah. Yeah. And his older brother, you know, set that same standard. And I love what, you know, at the NCAA level, you know, what Kyle Dake made popular, which was winning a national title, moving up a weight class every single year. Like, great. I love that example.
Yeah.
That
And people see that. Oh, let's work out.
Right.
And work hard while you're working out. I almost slipped up there.
Right.
Working out and lifting and getting stronger to take the weight you want, not have to cut to to be on the team. Just lift and take the weight you want.
Yeah. Yep. Awesome. So yeah, that starts up tomorrow morning, and you know, for all the wrestlers, I'm not sure if they actually listen to this podcast or watch, but starts right away tomorrow morning. And I had a date wrong. It said March 6th, but it meant March 16th, but it's already in Sports Engine calendar anyway. So your email should have that notification. Not too late to participate in that.
It's never too late.
Never too late. And I can't stress it enough. It is absolutely integral. We saw the examples of the people who lifted with us last year and lifted with Eggermont and his staff, and then the people who didn't. Yep. And there was a clear difference. Sorry to say, we could tell in the practice room. And that's all we want, is we want the entire level of the team to improve.
And, and another thing with the lifting is them kids that we seen, when I was in here with them, that one night that I was in charge of it, I could see the ones that were in there actually lifting too. Yeah. And them, I could call out all 4 of them that really, really worked in there every time I was in there. And yeah, there's some nights you're tired. You had to work that day or something. You were just a little drained, but they were still doing it, doing their weight and
Right.
doing it properly. And it's up to you. I mean,
Yeah.
it's up to the kid. If they're good, I mean, they can show up every day to the weight room, but if they don't pick up a weight, it ain't going to do them any good.
Yeah. Yeah. And Eggermont does a good job of making it kind of foolproof.
Yep.
Because especially he's going to have his staff kind of, it's a different intensity.
Yes.
And that's what I love about it is yeah, you're right. I mean, that's why I harp on it so much about there's a difference between lifting with professionals and kind of lifting on your own. Because then the breaks get longer. Then you're checking Instagram and TikTok in between sets.
Oh, I see that all the time at the gym.
Yeah. So
or making their TikToks while other people are trying to lift.
Yeah, exactly. So really excited about that. Really excited. So and then, hey, Freestyle Greco starts next week.
Freestyle Greco starts. We on Tuesday night, Coach Bloom will be in the practice. I've sent out an email to everybody that is registered right now.
Yep.
I will not be there this first week. So
why not?
My wife planned a trip for us. You know, I feel obligated to go.
Yeah.
You know, it's a vacation, and so Tuesday night will be just a regular practice. Yep. Thursday night, I have Pete Queasley, Mr. Queasley, coming in. He is one of the head refs for NYWA Wrestling. And that night, we are not actually going to practice. We're going to roll him out because he's probably going to have to show some stuff. They're going to have things going through, but he's going to run through a full freestyle match, a full Greco match. Also, scoring, rules, any questions any kids or parents have, he's here to answer that. He just got back being the head ref at the NCAA Girls National Tournament.
Oh,
so he knows what he's talking about. He is... his dad is number 1. I'm thinking he's like 2 or 3 in the state on his ranking for refereeing. Okay. So that night, I really, really would like all parents to come to that practice and sit down and listen to what he has to say.
Gotcha.
And then come the following Tuesday, we're full force.
So we're talking Thursday, the 23rd.
Yes.
Is basically a clinic.
It's basically scoring. Knowledge. Yep. Informational clinic.
Yep.
For all the new guys, all the new kids, the new parents wondering what freestyle and Greco is.
Awesome. Love that idea. So yeah, that's a good segue into the season.
Yes. And then we have already decided 90% that our first tournament will be the Apple Valley tournament on, I want to say it's April 8th, but I think it's the 8th. It's a Friday night tournament.
So that'd be the 7th then.
The 7th. Okay.
Yep.
April 7th will be the Apple Valley one that we have picked to go to.
Sure.
Because the next closest one is, I want to say 2 hours north of the cities. And that's
Apple Valley it is.
Yeah, Apple Valley it is. And plus, I mean, it's not like there's going to be anybody. I mean, that tournament's going to be a big tournament. Yep. It's going to be a fun one. And then a lot of kids will get their eyes opened. Win or lose, it does not matter. We're out on the mat. Freestyle is a whole different game.
Yeah.
You're going to beat some really good kids that have never wrestled it, and you're going to run into some really good kids that will beat you.
Right.
We don't keep track of wins, losses. I don't really care. Yeah, I care, but I don't, as long as you're out learning and trying.
Right.
Is what we're going for.
Yeah. Yeah. And what would you say to those that are thinking about like, oh, I just want to do practice and I don't want to compete?
I would say that's great. Come into practice. You'll learn stuff. I think a wrestler needs a few of the competitions to keep that knowledge going, to actually see, so you can try the moves you're learning, rather than waiting to the last second and saying, oh, I remember this move. Should I do it or not? Well, in a match, trying something for the first time, you want practice at it. I mean, that's what practice is for. And then you go and show what you learned at practice out on the mat.
Okay. Nice.
I mean, it's not mandatory.
Yeah.
But there is in works, if you make it to every practice and one tournament, I guarantee it, once you go to one tournament, you're going to want to go to a couple more. And there's not that many. It's only 9 weeks long.
Yeah.
There is going to be something for the kids. The only thing I keep track of is their time coming in. Every time you come in, you'll get a mark. If you make it to every practice and one tournament, there will be an award for you.
Okay.
We haven't figured out what that is. We're still trying to figure that out. But it'll be something different that nobody else has.
Nice.
So
awesome. Well, a little extra incentive there.
Yeah.
Well, good deal. Well, we did have a little live stuff this past weekend. Our middle school team was at regionals down in Grand Meadow, so the NYWA regionals, and they placed 4th. So they did qualify for state, which will be the second weekend over spring break.
Yep.
So that's awesome. So congratulations to the middle school team.
Congratulations.
I was there. It was pretty dang fun, although we wrestled the same team twice. So we had Plainville, Elgin, Millville first round.
Yeah.
Lost to them, but and it was just a crazy day where everybody got pins. You either got pinned or all the scores were 6 points across the board, it seemed like. So we went out there, fought hard, and crawled back in. I think only lost by 6 or 9 points in the first round.
Yep.
And then Pine Island second round, who had, a couple of kids looked like they wrestled some varsity this year. We actually came through. So we fought them really hard and saved some team points in the lower weights where they were really strong, like JV varsity kids. Okay. And then the middle weights, we kind of got a rally going around there, starting with, kind of the Will Frantesolo area. And so, came back and fought hard and ended up getting came down to heavyweight with Alex Neitzel, and he got the win. And
good for him.
Yeah. So then we got back in the 3rd place match. Well, and Plainville, Elgin Millville came back in.
Yeah. So they lost on the front side and got thrown back into the back side.
Exactly. So then we had them again for the 3rd round. And we switched some stuff up to see, and we got worked in some other kids that hadn't wrestled, because we knew we qualified anyway. Yeah. So wanted to get everybody good matches. Got a lot of exhibition matches in that day too. But so lost the second time to Plainview again. However, all day long, so fun, such a cool environment. All the kids were hanging out, and even with the other teams, it was just a great environment. So it was awesome.
Good.
Yeah.
And how was it down in that school? I have not been in their school yet. It's like 4 bubbles.
Yeah, those domes.
The domes are pods.
And those are classrooms, so we weren't in there.
Okay. So the gym's behind all that.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So it's a K through 12 and pretty standard gym, and they ran a tight ship. That was started on time. Everything flied.
Good.
So it was great. Yeah. And then one thing I wanted to point out, and we'll have more details as we get closer, but the Owatonna Wrestling Banquet is Sunday, April 16th. Mark your calendars. This isn't just like an awards banquet just for high school or anything like that. This is a total community celebration. So like I said, we have more details. We're fleshing that out, but about a month away, Sunday, April 16th. And we'll keep talking about it and updating as we get closer.
Yep. So, and I've heard there's some other stuff in the works.
Yep.
Just for the, to keep it more than just, like you said, just an awards banquet. It's a community thing.
Exactly. Probably have some wrestle-offs with class of 1985 or something like that, too. So
85 against 96.
Yeah, there you go. Nice. Well, we'll be right back with our guest of honor here. And, but like I said, we'll have more details coming up. All right, welcome back to the Owatonna Wrestling Weekly Podcast, brought to you by Flemke Insurance Agency. And I know a lot of you out there already recognize the gentleman in between our wrestling coach sandwich here, Coach Jerry Eggermont, Owatonna head strength and conditioning coach, among other roles. So welcome to the podcast, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, guys.
Now, you wear so many hats, like a whole collection of hats here at the Owatonna High School. What are all the different kind of roles you have?
So this is my 25th year of being in the Owatonna Public Schools. First year in 98, I was at the junior high school. And then they moved me over to the high school. And since 98, I've been coaching varsity boys and girls track. At that time, no longer girls track, just boys track. Okay. And then in the winter, I've been strength and conditioning, the other sports, and then in the fall, coaching football. So, it's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of work, but it's work that I've really enjoyed. And I'm really thankful to be able to work with the programs, the coaches, the kids that I've been able to over these years, and to see them really come into their own through the weight room. So it's been a lot of fun. So yeah, it's
I was gonna ask you how the difference of the kids that you've seen come through and then excel afterwards.
Yeah, it's, kids are still kids. Kids want to do well. The thing that I've seen, a little bit more obvious over the last 25 years of being here is kids they want to do well. It's just a matter of them doing the work.
Yep.
And there's less and less kids who are willing to put in that extra time to separate themselves from being great. And it comes with a lot of blood, sweat, and tears in the weight room. And that really, in my estimation, just of my own story of where kids are at. And if they want to compete at higher levels, they got to be able to come in and sacrifice that time, whether it's mornings at 6 a.m. or in the afternoons, and just grind it out.
Yep.
But there's just fewer kids that are willing to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's, I would have to agree with you that it's not like the mentality has shifted slightly, but it's more about it just gets a little rarer.
Yeah.
There's still the same, nose to the grindstone kids out there, just probably a little less. And also I'd say the overall patience of wanting kind of the instant gratification.
Yes.
I got it.
I want it
if
now.
I don't make varsity now,
Yeah.
my world could be over. And instead of like kind of using that as a goal on the horizon.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that we fight is in this culture today, in the age of these kids, is they want that instant gratification, and they're not willing to just be enjoy the process, enjoy the journey, and know that it takes a lot of work to get there. And if that instant gratification doesn't happen right away, they kind of pull back and they start questioning themselves, or that confidence piece is out the window. Instead of like, you know what, it might take me 2 years to get into a lineup, and I'm willing to do that, and I'm not going to miss a workout. And I've worked with those kids, and it's a lot of fun to see the fruits of their labor. But at the end of the day, it just has to come down to discipline, enthusiasm, persistence, and having total focus of not giving up. Because they can. They can. So
it's the not giving up part. It's just
keep
fight
grinding
through it.
Well, and that's we talked about this a little bit behind your back at the beginning of the podcast, but talking about kind of my excitement for what we're going to be doing spring, summer, and fall in relation specifically to Owatonna Wrestling and the strength training program that you've created and implementing. And it's the intensity, it's the energy, but I actually phrase it as excitement. Like it's the excitement you and your staff have for the journey, the lifting, the grind, and how you frame it. Because man, if it's dead energy, you're just naturally not going to be, most people, 99% of the population isn't going to push themselves as hard.
You're right.
And I look at this, guys. I mean, I've been here long enough, to see a phenomenal program through Coach Davis and what he did. It was on the map. Anywhere where you went in the state or the upper Midwest, it was Owatonna Wrestling. And it was that. And it's dropped off a little bit for whatever reason. And I'm super excited to see you, Coach Johnson, lead this ship. And a big part of my excitement and enthusiasm comes from you and your dedication and your willingness to do anything and everything for these kids, to give them a chance to be part of a special program. And I'm telling you, it wears off on me, and it's like it's rejuvenated me to get me going and to even help that much more, to make sure that we get back on the map for Owatonna Wrestling. And I'm going to do whatever I can from the weight room standpoint to help you guys get back on that page. And we can do it. We have the kids to do it. We have the staff to do it. It's just a matter of getting these kids to buy in. And we can do that, but it's going to be a journey, and we just can't let up on them. We just got to be, we can't relent from these kids of knowing we have the map. You guys have, we have the map, we have the roadmap, we have everything, you know, that they need to be successful. They just got to show up and they got to trust.
Yep.
Exactly.
Agreed fully.
Well, and you told a good story yesterday to the kids, you know, talking about how you were up in East Grand Forks and, you know, as soon as you got the Owatonna job, immediately you were getting comments of, oh, that wrestling town, you know, like that type of notoriety and everything like that. So before you got to Owatonna, what was kind of your journey into, you know, the strength coach realm? So
out of college, playing 4 years of college football, and then I had a couple tryouts at the end of my senior year up in Canada with Toronto and stuff. And my dream was to obviously play football as long as I could. And then when I didn't make it and I wasn't quite fast enough or whatever, I ended up teaching and coaching at Red River High School up in Grand Forks. So I was up there for 5 years, and I took that role on of being a strength and conditioning coach up in at Red River, which is a hockey town. I love football. I coach football up there as well. But the flood occurred back in '97. So the great Red River flood in '97, we were flooded out basically. I took my young family and we ended up in Colorado Springs for a short time. We just wanted to try something new. Colorado Springs was too large of a city for us. I didn't want to find out I didn't want to raise our daughters in that big of a city. So we started looking back at the Midwest, but not North Dakota. And it's really cold up there. Even in July, my dad wears his long johns.
Sure.
So anyway, I was looking, we found Owatonna. We have some really good teacher friends down in Albert Lea from North Dakota. And they said, back in '98, they said, hey, if you can get a job in Owatonna, your money. Owatonna is a solid district, and it is a great district, and it's thriving, the community and everything. So lo and behold, the Lord brought us to Owatonna. And Mr. Jim Herzog, I give him all the credit. And I love that man. He's a mentor of mine, and he means an awful lot to me. And he gave me an opportunity to move my family here and to teach and coach and to be a part of this great community.
Wow.
Okay. Well, so the weight room coming in to this new school, what are you going to have different from what you have now, or how much bigger? Is it going to be bigger? I haven't seen anything in the school. I want to walk in and see everything. The first time I go in, I want to see everything for the first time. I've been asked if I want to see some of the layout. I'm like, nope. I haven't had any jobs go in there, so I haven't had to go in there. So what kind of weight room are we going to have for Owatonna High School kids?
It's really exciting, and to be a part of the design and the equipment and all of that has just been really fruitful. It's been exciting. The campus as a whole is going to be incredible. Our campus with the facility that we have is going to be top shelf. But specifically our weight room, this weight room right now is right around 3,400 square feet. And the weight room at the senior high school, the new school, is going to be somewhere around between 4,200 and 4,500. And then the interesting piece of when they designed it and we looked at this is there will be a true strength room of about that 4,200 to 4,400 square feet, somewhere in there. And then dividing that, we will have a wall that divides that into a fitness room. So we will have more cardio equipment. The cardio equipment will be in one room along with some plate-loaded selectorized equipment, but with treadmills or trainers and that sort of thing. And then leg press and leg curls, and that will be in the other side. And square footage-wise, I'm going to guess anywhere from 1,300 to 1,700 square feet, something like that. But it'll be two separate rooms, which will be two different teaching stations for us. And then the strength room in itself, we're going to have about 18 racks, and then with an inlaid platforms.
Really?
And the inlaid platforms will have Husky head on it and things like that, so we can do all of our Olympic lifting right outside those power racks. So basically I can have, 36 guys lifting at once on the whistle. It's going to be very college-like.
Okay.
I was about to say, that sounds like an NCAA room.
Yeah.
Customized. And, that's awesome.
So
Can't wait to see it.
Yeah, it's going to be really sweet with the laser engraved equipment and all that stuff. It's going to be top shelf. It really is. And really excited of what we can do. Again, the equipment, the flooring, and everything that we bring into there is all just a small piece of it. It's the kids that come in, that walk through that door, and can we get them elevated to a level that it's like a gold level standard, like we're going to get after it and we're going to train so that this starts breeding and just becomes a part of our fabric and the thread of who we are, not only through certain sports, football and wrestling and, and stuff, but if we can get these multi-sport athletes to really buy in season, out of season, you're going to see Owatonna, from an athletic standpoint,
start
erupt.
Going.
It's going to erupt. But we just have too many multi-sport athletes, which are the best athletes in our school. But we share these athletes, and right now there's just not enough consistency through our athletic programs to make sure that we deliver these kids to the next sport. So like for football, it would behoove us to make sure that when we're done with football and they go to wrestling, that these kids aren't in the best shape possible. So when they go into that wrestling season, there's no drop-offs.
Yeah, sure.
And then Coach Johns, he has a responsibility to make those athletes or make sure those athletes are ready and prepared to go into that spring season.
To track or to lacrosse or to wherever they're going.
Whatever it is, tennis. But,
right. Yeah. Well, and I to that point, I talked to the Byron wrestling head coach because all of a sudden this year they exploded with like 16 girls in their high school room. And I go, what did you do? And he goes, I got the most popular girl in the school who runs track, one of our sprinters, and told her this will keep you in the best shape throughout the winter. And now our entire girls track team is wrestling. And it's like, okay. Like that's incredible. Like, so that's the type of, the cooperation, collaboration that we're looking to do.
So I'm excited about what this new facility can do for us.
Sure.
And hopefully even forge us more closely as an athletic department so that we can get these kids ready and prepared to play at high levels. And I'm just going to be frank. I know us strength coaches are a different breed, but I'm telling you what, it's only because of my personal story of where I was and where I went because of a weight room and what it did for me from Cooperstown, North Dakota, a town of, 1,400 people in it, and playing, I played 9-man football, and I came out of there and played college football, and we were state champions. We went undefeated my senior year in high school and lost in my junior year. And out of that class, which were tremendous athletes, there was only like 3 of us that went on and played college football. And only 2 of us actually finished 4 years of college football. But when I was a senior in high school, I just got, I was 135 pounds to start of my senior year. 135 pounds. And I lived in the weight room. I was a farm kid. I grew up on the farm, obviously, throwing hay bales, pitching a lot of manure and cleaning barn. So there's a lot of physical strength, but I lived in the little weight room that we had. And fast forward to college, I was 6 foot, 218 pounds, and the weight room just drug-free and never touched, I wanted to do it completely on my own. And I just, where it took me, I couldn't have done without the weight room. I couldn't have played college football.
Right.
So I bring that passion, that energy to every one of these kids because the weight room is the instrument and the vessel to help get these kids where they want to be. They just have to get the work done. And they got to do it.
And we had that conversation earlier back in the day for wrestlers. It was cut to take a weight. Now, in my head, lift. Get stronger and take the weight you want.
Well, and what you were able to accomplish with Kale Robb over this past off season, and I mean that's now just an absolute banner story. I mean, like the example that and back to the point of you gave him all the opportunities, and it was up to him to take it, and boy did he. Lifting sometimes twice a day. Like he was just so incredibly dedicated. But to go up 4 or 5 weight classes and still knock off number 1 from Wisconsin, and do all these things and make the state finals in dominant fashion. I mean, absolutely blow through the state tournament until the finals. It wouldn't have happened without you, your staff, and being able to also motivate him. Because yet again, all of these weights have been around for a while, and it's like it's also the motivation, the inspiration that you provide, and the excitement, because lifting, even at its craziest and toughest, should be fun.
Yeah.
Like, it is really fun, especially, like on days where, you're going to be throwing around some weight and power cleans. Like, there's something primal to that. And like tapping into that is so important.
Picking up heavy things and being able to set them down.
And it's, again, it goes back to, kids, if they're willing to put that work in, and then when they test, to see the fruits of that labor, and when they see that their squat went up 30, 40 pounds, their clean went up 20 pounds, and their bench went up whatever, it becomes addicting. Instead of being on the phone and playing video games and everything else that's a distraction in their life, they find things that actually can help them and help them become more athletic. But it takes a while, and they got to buy in, they got to trust. And, I'm intense and I'm passionate, and both you guys know me, but at the end of the day, I love kids. And I have a heart for them.
You wouldn't be doing this job.
And I just, and, I think when the kids know me, like a Peyton Robb and a Cale Robb and Eli Ross and Coach Johnson and you guys, it's like, I want nothing more than just to be a small part to be able to get you to where you want to be. And that is just walking beside you and pushing you. And a lot of times they don't really enjoy the things that they want to hear that I'm saying about get moving. We gotta work harder. But as long as my name's on the door, I'm gonna continue to do that and believe in kids. And when I quit believing in kids and that stuff, I guess I'll retire.
Yeah, I don't see that happening anymore.
Nope.
I think you're dying in the rack at 95. I think you're going down to the ball of fire. So, it's so appreciated. And like I said, I couldn't be more excited about the collaboration that continues to grow. Like, it's this off season is kind of another chapter for us, for Owatonna Wrestling, and especially with how we've identified our team, where there's a lot of young teams in our conference and everything like that. But even those young teams are full of people that we feel have already maxed their potential, versus our team who sent 10 to state. And we're kind of raw in the strength, department and doing that. So if we add that facet, if we catch up in that way, it's going to be scary where these kids are going to be.
And that's one of the big things that I'm really excited for, is to offer this opportunity this spring for our wrestlers when we have this open lifting, and we got them on the program. We met last night. We went through orientation, and I'm really excited to see this group of kids and all of the wrestlers. And if they're not out for a spring sport, they need to be in here, period. And to be able to track these kids, because this phase 1 is going to set them up for summer. We got a plan for these guys for summer, and then we're going to roll right into the fall for these kids who are wrestling that aren't going to be in fall sports. And we're going to step on that mat next winter, and we're going to be put together. And
that's what I was going to say. These kids as a group, they all lift and get stronger. They're gonna open some eyes real quick if they all do it.
Correct. Right.
I mean, the 1 or 2 that do it really hard, or the 3 or 4 that do it really hard, then individually open eyes. But if the whole team does it, and they all come out looking like beasts, it's just the intimidation factor. Because I looked at some of these other high school teams up at the state tournament, and I'm like, whoa. Every one of them kids. It's like,
even their lankier Waconia kids had traps.
It's like,
God dang it.
And they weren't, they weren't sucked down either. That was the main thing. They weren't just sucked down and looked big. They were strong.
And a little bit from me is knowing the coaches down in the room with Coach Johnson, you guys down here. I know, and I'm not a wrestling guy, but I know they're going to be technically sound in their moves. Technically sound. So as a strength coach, I take this personally, because I always ask you guys, hey, how did we do? I want to know how we did. And I asked Chet, too. It's like, we're we're not very strong. And then it's like, I go home and I don't sleep at night, really,
Sure.
because I know down here from a technique standpoint, these kids are getting the best technique, but we're missing such a huge component, and we're going to get there.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, without a shadow of a doubt, we're not going to let up on these kids. And you know what? They're going to come around. But from a strength coach, I take that personally. Like, we need to get these kids in here. So, and we're on that.
And what, all 10 of them got a taste. I mean, how many new guys first time going to the state tournament, or some of the kids, I want a match at the state tournament. For me, it would be in the back of my head, I want more.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What do I got to do to get more of that? Yeah. And lifting is basically, that, and keep wrestling. Keep doing your sports.
I was sharing with a coach earlier today that we were just talking about lifting in general and some of the kids, not lifting or not choosing to lift. And I said, I can understand this maybe 30 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
There was no internet, there was no phones, there was nothing. And, lifting was lifting, but it wasn't like it is now.
No.
For crying out loud, there isn't an athlete at the high school, middle school, college level that doesn't lift and train because they need to get bigger, faster, stronger, and more explosive.
Yeah.
And it's like, and there's so much out there on social media for these kids to get hooked by that. Mm-hmm. But we're
in the process. It's coming. These guys are young enough, and if the group that I seen last year doubles to this year, Owatonna Wrestling's coming back.
Yeah. Well, and I know, Coach Eggermont, you've recruited, and I'm a big proponent of it too. Some of the boys to throw, and lift with you for track and field. And so that too, it's a few of these guys weren't necessarily active last spring, and didn't really get started lifting basically until kind of football season rolled around in July. And then I heard the comment of, well, I busted my butt in the off season for about 2 months. You did. Yeah. It's a long time. The wrestling season's only 15 weeks.
Yeah.
There's a lot of year that's left over, and that's where it makes the difference. We're always going to get them there conditioning wise. We're always going to get them there technique wise during the season, but this is the one thing that you have so much time to make up ground.
Yeah. So. Two things go along with that, and if athletes are trying to train off season, it's recreational lifting. I trained an athlete here a couple weeks ago, and he was lifting off site, and he said, "Coach, would you train me?" And I said, "Yeah, come on in." And I said, "Where you been lifting?" He goes, "Well, I've been down at a gym."
Yeah.
And I said, "All right, let's go. I got a program for you." And I put him through a workout, and he barely finished, and I didn't see him for about 3 days. But he was but he came back on that Tuesday, and he said, "That's the best workout I've ever had, Coach." And it isn't about me; it's about training. The difference of there's lifting. You can go to a gym and lift,
right,
and lift, and it's recreational, because that's what happens when athletes try to go off site.
Yeah.
No one will ever tell me any different. But when you lift in-house with your buddies and you're training, you're going to get better. You're going to be more athletic.
Yep.
Blake Fisher and Max Flemke are coming out, and they're throwing for me right now. And I'm telling you what, we've had 2-a-days. So every morning we have practice at 6:30.
Okay.
That we're in the weight room and we're doing SAQ. We're doing sprints and we're doing all kinds of work. And these guys are looking at me with wide eyes, and I'm like, "Stay the course." I said, "You're going to be fine. You're going to get strong.
Yeah.
You're going to improve your balance. And you're going to be a tremendous athlete, not only in throwing, but in wrestling and everything else in football."
Yep.
Yeah.
But
look at what you did for Grant Loward last year. Him lifting and, changing his entire body composition with you guys.
Yeah.
And then went from 0 varsity wins ever in wrestling to 25 wins in all conference and nearly made it to state.
Yep.
So that was huge. That was huge.
And I do the recreational stuff, the lifting. So I see exactly what you're talking about at the gym, one of the other gyms offsite here in town. Yes, they're in there, but when there's 4 of them all waiting for the same dumbbell.
Yeah.
And videotaping each other.
Yeah.
And I'm not just talking about wrestlers. I'm not talking about any certain kids.
Yeah.
It's all of them in there. But then there's the few in there.
Yeah.
Like last year I seen Cale Robb in there. He would come in, put his earbuds in, and that kid would go to town.
Yeah.
And it's like he wouldn't stop to talk to all his buddies until he was at the bench putting on his tennis shoes to leave.
Yep. You had a program to follow.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he was doing it in there, and then I would see him later that night up here doing it again. So it's like, oh.
And a big piece of that, guys, from a physiological standpoint, is your work-rest ratio.
Yeah.
You know, so like the senior that I was training, I kept him, because of the intensity in the program that we're on, I kept him to a minimum of a 75-second rest, and then we were back at it.
Yep.
And I'm telling you what, it's not what you do, it's how you do it. And it turns money. You just got to stay that course and enjoy that journey.
Absolutely. Well, you talked about you weren't as charismatic or something before you came on this podcast. Holy crap. Like, this is a great chat. I loved it. I knew
you didn't have to squeeze your legs.
I know. I knew as soon as we got, on a topic, I don't know, like lifting, that this would just, be easy peasy.
This is not my cup of tea. Having headphones on and speaking into them.
No, you did a great job. Well, thank you again for being on the podcast, but also for the collaboration. So excited to continue working with you and see where we can go as a team. So.
Yeah, I just want to be here to help you guys and serve you guys and your team and help these kids become the best they can be. So thank you guys for having me. And
thank you for doing what you're doing.
Yeah. I look forward to working with you guys.
Appreciate that. Well, thank you. That's another Owatonna Wrestling Weekly podcast with Coach Gabe Hovden and head coach Derek Johnson. And mark your calendars, April 16th. We'll see you at the banquet.
And next week, Freestyle starts.
Yep.
Throw that little plug in. And thanks for Drake for setting everything up. Did a great job, dude.
Yeah, my boy. All right. Take care. Talk to you next week. Thanks.